What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin Cash today, BCH. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Shout out to the Dragon Riders in the House of the Dragon, BCH, baby. I think with the recent dip across the board, I think BCH is actually my biggest hold again. If not, Compound is barely above it, but Compound took a bit of a dip this week too, as did the rest of crypto. But here we are, regardless of its positioning, first, second, third, whatever, it's one of my most prized bags, right? And my first, second, and third place holdings, they're all very close to each other right now, actually, in overall value. So any one of them, could be a top prospect of this cycle. At least I hope, that's the hope. If anybody's curious as to what those are, that's Bitcoin Cash, Mana, and Compound. Those are my three biggest holds. That does not mean that they're going to be the three best performers of the cycle. I hope they are, but they're just there's a reason why they're my biggest holds. It's not because I'm expecting the most out of them. It's because I am expecting something out of them. I do expect that they will grow to new all-time highs, every single one of them, and the minimum targets there are higher than most of the minimum targets that I can find across the board for crypto, and at the same time be very convinced and very sure of these things hitting those targets. So that's why those are all my top three, right? But BCH here, that's the main point, right? $459 right now. We had a little bit of a pullback recently. Sorry, I just got so loud there, by the way, guys. I don't know what that was about. Pulled all the way down to our 123 daily moving average. Who could have seen that coming, right? I wasn't expecting it to happen personally, but I did say, and I have said a couple times throughout this range, that it is possible for BCH to move all the way down just below $400. You can check any of my videos. I really didn't weigh into that at all. I didn't think it would happen, but here we are. It did happen, and it happened very briefly. And every time that I said it, I probably said if we went down there, it'd be so brief that we'd go down there, and by the time it's Christmas, we'd be back up. I'm sure I said those exact words at some point over the recent days, but who cares? That's not the point. What I'm trying to say is the reason I got stuck on that at all is last time I talked about this was we likely would, if we were to go down there, we likely would hold support on the 123. And if we did go down there, that's actually a really nice, it's almost like doesn't it look parabolic? I'm not drawing the line the best, but doesn't it kind of have this parabolic shape to it, guys? Maybe I just take it away. You can see it yourself. It looks pretty good. It looks very healthy. Not only that, huge correction, massive correction, and no volume to follow through with it at all. You guys, I have no doubt in my head the path back up to these prices will be insanely faster than the path to it the first time, right? It took us, let me just explain what I mean. I'll expand on that a little bit. From this low to the high that we had took us 32 days, okay? I'm thinking if we had another 32 days from now, in that same 32-day period, the price isn't even going to be on the board anymore. It's going off the roof, right? Let alone by the time that it hits above these highs, I would think Christmas is in 5 days. Let's give it a week. 32 days versus 7 days. I bet a week, man. You're at these highs, if not above these highs. And a week is the maximum limit that I'm giving it, right? It's probably going to be less than that time. All I'm trying to say is with how bullish this thing looks and the parabolic structure, you could get a really wicked rip up here right now. You really, really could. And that's kind of what I'm expecting. We'll see. At any rate, certainly I would expect you to return to these prices at a much faster rate than what we came into them in, and that'll be a signal in itself that Bitcoin Cash really is getting ready for its next move. We moved up kind of slow here. If we're going to move fast, what's the next pace, right? If we look at this is our pace up right now. If I'm calling for us to move faster on this next phase, how fast could we go? Well, maybe we'll see a week where we move up 75%. Maybe we'll see a week where we move up 81%. Maybe we'll see a 2-week period where we move up 260% or something like that, right? I think that this thing's about to rip. I really do. And I think the proof is in the pudding right here. I like, if we look at this here, if we take a low right here on that white line, previous areas of resistance here, right there, previous areas of support, kind of closing support here, resistance there, support, going back in time, a little bit of resistance here, kind of. You moved up and you found support in this little range here on this line. This was the top of the gap, the great gap of Bitcoin Cash back in the early days when all the BTC people just shredded Bitcoin Cash down to its lows, man. Crazy, 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 crazy. Look at how much, there wasn't even that much volume on that week too, man. Just crazy the amount of times we've interacted with this gap throughout its whole life. This could be, you guys, genuinely a farewell kiss Bitcoin Cash is giving. It's been fun. It's been a long time. You've kept your gap open nice and wide for the Dragon Riders your whole life. This might be the farewell kiss to never seeing it again. I'm not kidding, right? Like you could have played off this gap throughout Bitcoin Cash's existence ever since then. It's not going to be a thing anymore. It's probably not going to be a thing. We're going to say bye-bye gap. It was fun. I think that was our last interaction with it, period. We're at 389 now, finding support at very significant areas. That's the whole point of that last part. Very significant areas. We take the last cycle's high to the current low of the bear market, right? Went up to the 61869, pulled back. Generally, when you go up to the 61869, you pull back again. That's not a good thing, right? That does hurt performance. So I'm not too keen on that. But sometimes, even with this, you do get a nice rip. Sometimes you do. I mean, I wonder if we can find BTC real quick. I bet we can find a good example of that happening, just so I'm not leading you guys astray here in what I'm trying to say. Let's see. High to low here, maybe. Kind of, no, not really. Not what I was looking for there. Maybe here, high to low, maybe. Nope, you went right through it on your first attempt too, damn it. Well, that's okay. I'm not going to go through a bunch of examples. All I'm trying to say is, and it's fair, right, that we probably didn't find one on that first attempt or on those a couple of attempts that I had, because it is very common that if you reject it twice, you kind of have a hurt performance. But I'm just saying, just because that happens, just because that is the probability based on this fib, doesn't mean that's going to be the probability of Bitcoin Cash's performance after this. Because yes, while this is the second attempt into the golden ratio, and yes, we did reject it, and while yes, that's not a good thing, there's a bunch of other good things that we're doing right now, right, that we're getting set up for, that could make this one of those exception times where even though you've got this thing that normally suggests you'll have a hurt performance when you break out, that might be null and void, because sometimes that does happen. I didn't find the example there. I tried to with Bitcoin, but I couldn't. I didn't want to spend the whole time just like searching for something just to prove a point. I promise you it exists. I'm not making this up, right? I'm not just saying that to cherry pick or validate what I'm saying, but let's get back to what I was going to say, which is the reason why I think we can, even though we've found resistance here at this golden ratio twice now, the reason why I think we can and will move at a very fast rate, probably up to this all-time high area by the end of January, is because we're also breaking out of our overall macro downtrend with Bitcoin Cash here, right? Something that we've never done, or we had a fake out briefly, rejected. Of course we did. Should have seen that coming, right? Fake outs, immediately rejecting afterwards, very common. But we break out of that, we get above this high. I can't see breaking out of a multi-cycle, a lifelong consolidation phase. I can't see you breaking out of that and having performance being hurt. I can't see that. It's going to be miraculous. That's what I see. I can't see on the monthly time frame BCH crossing its ribbon bullishly, right? If we close this month a little bit higher than it's at now, if this month closes green, let alone if it closes above these highs like I think it's going to, we're going to get a bullish cross on the monthly, which we've never had before as well, let alone we've never broken out of this range, right? I can't see those two things literally happening at the exact same time and expect that traditional outcomes for this kind of fib would negate the bullish potential of the other traditional outcomes of this monthly cross, and then of course of the range break. So here we are, 461. I feel like I had to go on that detour just because I'm going to be honest with you guys, right? When I'm seeing it, I'm going to be like, this is not ideal, but I don't want to scare people, right? Because I feel like there's a lot of reasons for people, there are a lot of reasons, I think, for people to assume that Bitcoin Cash doesn't even see $1,000 by the end of January, doesn't even go to like $900 by the end of January. There's a lot of reasons to assume that now that it is, over the last 2 weeks, it dropped 40%, right? Which is actually, if you look across the market, that's about average. I wonder, actually, we go to others, but that's the only reason I'm saying that, right? Is because there are reasons, and it's especially now at these low points, it's very easy for people to say, well, it's not going to do that well. But you guys, we have 1 day and 19 hours left in this week. Anybody out there who thinks Bitcoin Cash can't be at 1,300 to 1,900 by the end of January, if this week in the next day and 19 hours closed green, would your opinion be different? If this month, if by the end of December we're above $1,000, would your opinion be different that we could be at 1,300 to 1,700, right? Don't get discouraged. We still have 2 days left in the week. That's a long time. We still have a good bit of time left in the month, right? It's the 21st right now. We still have 10 days left in the month, and then the whole month of January. That's a whole month, you guys. Bitcoin Cash can do a lot of damage just in 2 weeks, let alone a whole month. Let's just wait and see how this thing's looking. I very much am still holding to the $1,300 to $1,700, $1,300 to $1,900 target area by the end of January. But others here. Let's just see what the average drop was for others. Bitcoin Cash dropped 39%. Others dropped 36%. So we had a little bit of an above average drop, but just a little bit, right? And then now from your low, others has pumped how much? 21%. BCH from its low has pumped probably more, I would think. Nope, 18%. So it had a bigger drop and it's recovered less. That's not a good look for you, BCH, but I think it'll be fine, guys. I really do. I think that by the end of this week we're going to be up a lot higher. That low on the 123 moving average, we found resistance there before. We found support time and time again on this line. You couldn't track that line better if you tried, man. It was just perfect. So I think we found support there. I think we are moving up. Don't be surprised if we move down a little bit. It can happen, right? Looking at the RSI, we've got lower highs. We're at an area in the RSI. Being at the 50, it would make sense to reject here. Being at this lower high kind of trend, it would make sense to reject here. But if we're going lower, I don't think we're going to go here. I don't think we're going to go here. I think likely we'd probably find support at about 420 and then move up if we were to go lower from here. But we don't have to. We could just keep going, man. That was a very bullish reversal that we had there. And oftentimes with stuff like this, you get these V-shaped recoveries. So I mean it whenever I say that in the next 2 days, guys, Bitcoin Cash could be above 540. It could even be above 600 within the next 2 days. It depends. You know, it could happen, but it is the weekend. Things to consider. We don't normally move up over the weekend, but I don't know. Sometimes we do. Anyways, guys, I'm going to end it there. Hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Bitcoin Cash absolutely found its low. Absolutely it did, as did the rest of the crypto markets. It found a low in an area throughout its whole life. It's found support and resistance on a very significant gap in its life as well. And, you know, I guess, I don't know if I actually measured this one, but to end it off, probably on this fib here, low to high. And you reached for your golden ratio, you couldn't even get there. That's very bullish, right? The golden ratio, everybody's got their eyes on the 618 to 69 area. Everybody does, right? Bitcoin Cash couldn't reach it. That means there's front running. There's people who, there's so much buying pressure, you couldn't even get to your very common area to retrace to. So much buying pressure that you literally wicked all the way back up to your 382 in that same day. It's very, very bullish, guys. There's nothing to be worried about. I know it's concerning sometimes whenever you have a 40% drop in the course of 2 weeks, but this is crypto, baby. We did it last cycle. We literally did. It took us 3 weeks or 2 weeks, and then we were off to the races not shortly after that. Literally, look at this. We took 3 weeks to drop here from a low to a high. You moved up 109%, and that only took probably 2.5 weeks there, right? We could be, by the end of this month, you guys, from the low to the high, we could be all the way up at like $800, $900, right? By the end of this month, at a minimum is what I would think, right? We're probably going to be higher, right? But time will tell. Anyways, I'll see you guys on the next one. Hit that like button, subscribe.